Can I ask, I'll start this off with the two of you, and John, I want to bring you in on this. Alan Partridge and Dr. Steve Brule, your characters, were very, very different from Stan and Ollie, and I think the type of comedy that both of you are known for.
Don't pull a muscle stretching for this one.
No, I mean in the sense of like, if Stan and Ollie was very broad comedy and very slapstick, and both of the comedy you are known for is very different. Was it difficult for you trying to attenuate yourself to that frequency? How's that for stretching?
I would start. I'm going to jump in for John, because I know John's probably got loads to say on this, but I'm going to say.
I don't.
Really? Oh, okay, fine. Basically, I love all different kinds of comedy.
Right.
I love esoteric comedy that's avant-garde and strange and surreal, and I like broad, crowd-pleasing comedy, and they all have their role to play. But Laurel and Hardy, although they may seem like what you might call broad comedy.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of subtlety and nuance in their performances. When you look at their facial expressions, there's like 100 things going on in their faces, and that it feels strangely contemporary when you watch them now. When you look at Ollie's face and his expressions at camera, very minimal, very small, detailed. You barely moves a muscle, but he's communicating so much. I think they're one of the few. Sometimes comedy comes along that crosses all those generations.
Yeah.
Makes smart people laugh, makes dumb people laugh, and everyone in between. And Laurel and Hardy were those guys.
Yeah, I was very attuned to their style of comedy because I've been watching it my whole life.
Yeah.
So in a way they taught me about comedy. They taught me timing and all of these things. And I was actually a clown. I was an actual clown when I was a younger guy. So, yeah, I'm very familiar with the kind of stuff that they did, but I have to say, like, a lot of my work is directly informed by Oliver Hardy. Like Ralph Breaks the Internet, we talked all the time in the studio about Oliver Hardy, copying some of the sounds of getting hit on the head and all that. So their influence is, it's hard to overstate their influence on comedy.
How about you, John?
Well, I'm not a comedian, but so the question for me would be,
I suppose just in terms of looking at Filth, for example, which was a very cynical, very acerbic comedy, and then to go from that into something as sweet as this,
yeah. Well, I see what you're saying. To me, I don't think that this movie is a comedy anyway. I think this movie's a love story, and I think, funnily enough, where the majority of the comedy in this particular film, the majority of the laughs from an audience, actually come from the wives, because a lot of the acerbic wit and that rapport comes from them. The emotional heart and the emotional beat of this story comes through the relationship of Stan and Ollie. So you have to have Stan and Ollie and then Laurel and Hardy movies as two completely different things, I think.
Yeah. For both of you, and I suppose for you, John, as well, at what point do you feel you started to understand the characters? I mean, was it a case of, for John, when you were in the fat suit and getting all the makeup done, when you saw yourself in the mirror, was that the moment? Or was it for you when you were learning how to do the voice? Or?
No, there's various different moments for me. There's you get clues as you go along.
Yeah.
So you get pieces of the jigsaw, and there's certain moments where you feel like you've made a great deal of progress. When we saw the makeup test, that felt like a big leap forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in a process of discovering whether I understand Oliver Hardy now. Long after we've made the movie, and it's something. It's funny because I used to tell myself all the time, I even used to say it to Steve, like, look, we don't have to do the whole movie in one day.
Yeah.
All we got to do today is do this little scene where we're backstage, where we're discussing Robin Hood. We just got to get that right. And then tomorrow will be a new challenge. And then step by step by step, these things start to add up. And then by the end of it, I don't know that I ever I thought like, well, I've got it, But there were moments of kind of like revelation, where, especially those emotional scenes when he's talking about retiring or some of these.
Yeah, where it feels real.
Yeah, those are moments where you're like, I bet that's what it
You
felt like.
never really feel like you completely got it. Even now you go, I guess it may be about now. You look at the reviews and what everyone's saying about it, and you think, well, I think maybe we got it. You know, you sort of get to that stage. Don't you?
I mean, when you were in like the video village, like, was there a moment where you were thinking, "Shit, they've got it now"? Like they know what they're doing, kind of thing.
Very early on, I have to say. The actual Laurel, it's weird. There was two bits to this. Yeah, the actual Laurel and Hardy of it all. Yeah, in terms of what people remember these two characters as. We shot all our big theatre scenes in the first week. Yeah, so they had to become those guys very, very early. But what was more interesting for me, so I knew that from day one, I knew that they could do Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
But what the big challenge was for this film was to become Stan and Ollie, yeah, the off-screen personas. And that wasn't until we really got into the week 2, and I think we were shooting the scene on the boat as they're coming into Ireland, and the boat is a very emotional scene where the Stan's confessing something to Ollie. And I just had to have one look around the crew to see a few tears in the eyes, you know. And I knew then that they'd got Stan and Ollie. But, you know, when I was putting this film together, it
might have been the wind on the boat.
there was a very,
Don't say that.
you know, when I was looking for the actors to play these two parts, there was a lot of boxes that needed to be ticked, you know, from Stan and Ollie's, from the nationality, from to find an actor that could do comedy as well as they could do drama, you know, many things, and the list got smaller and smaller as these things were added. And I was very fortunate to get my two first choices. So I was always confident. I think Steve and John were more nervous, but I always try to reassure them at the beginning, this is going to happen. And I saw we had 3 weeks rehearsal at the beginning of this film, and I saw as the weeks went on, the nerves started to slowly go compared to what they were on week 1, you know.
Yeah. Okay, I think I have to leave it there, do I? Yep. All right.
Oh,
Thanks for now.
How do you feel about the size of the audiences?
I've been a little disappointed.
And they said, could you persuade Stan and Ollie to do some publicity in order to turn the tour around?
Will there be any more money?
They said no.
Well, who is they?
People. The worst kind.
Here we are.
The Eiffel Tower.
How is Oliver? He pulling weight?
How's your knee?
It hurts.
Has he been pushing you a little too hard, babe?
No.
You could have long time ago said goodbye, Oliver.
That's all in the past.
You're not still carrying that around, are you? Because I went ahead and did a picture with someone else 16 years ago.
You and Harry are just going to be great together.
Couldn't sleep for days when they told me what you did.
And I couldn't sleep when I did it.
You betrayed me. Betrayed our friendship. I loved us.
You loved Laurel and Hardy, but you never loved me. The doctors told me I can't continue with the tour. My heart won't take it.
He asked me, since you were sick, if I wouldn't mind carrying on the show with somebody else.
May I introduce to you Mr. Nobby Cook?
You're not leaving, are you, Stan? The show must go on. What time is it now?
Hold this.
Do we really need that trunk?